for our second day of coverage in men's gymnastics at the Goodwill Games. Hi everyone, I'm Bart Connor along with Kathy Johnson, and today we're going to be seeing the men's all-around competition. And I think really probably any one of 5 or 6 gymnasts could win, including the former world champion Grigory Misyutin from Ukraine, or any one of 3 Russians, really.
Misyutin was the top qualifier in yesterday's competition, which certainly speaks for his chances here. He emerged about the same time as the great Vitaly Sherba. In fact, it surprised everyone. The year before the Olympics, he actually beat Sherba at the World Championships in the all-around. He does beautiful gymnastics and, in fact, has one of the most spectacular vaults we have ever seen. Very few gymnasts can even attempt this vault, much less do it this well. And I agree with you, Bart. Any one of the Russians could contend for the all-around. But Alexei Voropayev was second in the all-around at the World Championships this year, and though he made some mistakes yesterday in the competition, you can tell if he puts it all together, he'll be right in there.
Now let's talk about American Scott Keswick. He has a tradition of coming into these events and really blowing it in the preliminary competition, then coming on in the finals of the all-around and doing reasonably well.
We think we figured it out. He needs to get mad enough to compete well, and he certainly has a lot to be mad at in yesterday's competition, so maybe he'll come on like gangbusters here.
He did very well in the first event, the still rings, which is one of his best events, but by the time he got to the parallel bars, he fell off on a very simple move and then made 3 more major errors in the all-around competition. So maybe Scott Keswick for the United States could get it together again today. Once again, it's the all-around, which means the top 16 gymnasts will compete. They advanced here from the team competition. No more than 3 gymnasts from any one country. And it's new life. No scores will carry over from the team competition. The gymnasts with the top cumulative score in the floor, pommel horse, rings, vault, and parallel bars, high bar as well, will be the all-around champion. First up in the men's all-around competition from the United States, this is 24-year-old Cheney Humphrey. He had a birthday yesterday here in St. Petersburg. One of the more powerful members of the U.S. team. Got his degree from UCLA in physiological science and plans to attend medical school after the 1996 Olympics.
I like this in his bio, Bart. It says, attributes his strength to a broken leg and 2 broken feet, because that was the only time during that recovery that he lifted weights. And of course, we see the result here. Very nice double layout. Good, strong opening tumbling run for Cheney.
Competed for UCLA. Recently, the men's program at UCLA has been dropped. Men's gymnastics in the colleges in the United States is suffering a great deal. UCLA produced so many great champions like Tim Daggett and Peter Vidmar, Mitch Gaylord, Cheney, Scott Keswick, who's competing here. Gymnastics a non-revenue producing sport, and many colleges are cutting it out of their programs. Cheney was 24th in the all-around at the World Championships in Australia this year. Finalist on the high bar.
Excellent routine, especially, this is not one of his strongest events. His strongest events are yet to come. This was really the best part of the routine. Very high, double layout, certainly uses his power to his advantage. Maintains a nice stretched position throughout.
Score for Cheney Humphrey at 9.15, a little bit low, but it's always difficult to be the first performer. This is one of our favorites in the all-around competition, Alexei Voropayev. What a powerful tumbler.
Unbelievable. We're just in double back in laid out position.
Watch this front tumbling combination.
We're seeing many of the gymnasts attempt more front tumbling, trying to get the bonus points from the judges. That's one of the more difficult passes because he adds the 1.5 twist on the final element.
Very good at sticking his landings.
And it's going to come down to that. And trying to win the all-around, they really must strive to be perfect on all their landings.
For the United States now, Scott Keswick on the floor. He had difficulty here yesterday on his last tumbling run.
A very nice opening tumbling run. Here's his front tumbling sequence. And sometimes he's a little bit off on the technique, but did it very well here.
That wasn't exactly what he had planned. He was hoping to do a twisting somersault on the third of those front layouts,
which requires perfect technique. Otherwise, you cannot get in the air long enough to add the twist. This is one of his best passes in the routine. Right down the side. Watch this. Oh, he didn't do it. And I think he needed that in terms of his difficulty, especially since he didn't add the full twist in the middle tumbling run.
So far, he's already modified 2 of the 3 passes. Let's see what he does here on his last tumbling run. Should be a double back somersault. There it is.
A little bit short on rotation. He doesn't quite get the lift he needs to into the somersault, and always struggles a little bit with rotation on that final tumbling run. Here he is supposed to perform 2 layout somersaults and then a full twist on the final one, and you could see he was not in a good position in the second one to even go for the full twist.
The score for one of our favorites in the all-around, Voropayev, a 9.6. We'll be back with Scott Keswick's score.
Better on the floor today.
Yeah.
Back at the Goodwill Games men's all-around competition from the United States, Scott Keswick, a 9.25 for the floor exercise routine.
Not doing that.
Now up on the floor exercise from China, this is Wang Dong. He's 19 years old, a very powerful tumbler and vaulter, typical of the Chinese team. It's one of his best events.
They use such beautiful technique and make the most difficult skills, like that double twisting double back, look so easy and effortless.
So many great Chinese gymnasts over the years. Li Ning, 3 gold medals in Los Angeles at the Olympics, and Tong Fei, Li Xiaoshuang. They always have the perfect combination of power and technique.
Part of that power comes from them utilizing everything. Watch how he pushes through his feet, through his hands when he tumbles, and gets an unbelievable height.
Up on the pommel horse now, Grigory Misyutin, one of the favorites in this competition. Former world all-around champion, winner of 4 medals at the Olympics in Barcelona, 4 silver medals. Great opening sequence. Look at the work on one pommel. Travels across to the other pommel, and he'll stay on there, getting bonus points from the judges for not reaching down to the end or to the other pommel.
This event always was difficult, but with the new code of points, it's even more so. They're requiring a higher level of difficulty. So it's even more demanding.
Going to score very well. You know, in the last year or so, we haven't seen Misyutin in the best shape. But he looks terrific here and primed to win this all-around title. There's the intricate handwork on one pommel. The gymnast is required to go around with 3 hand placements on one individual pommel. The judges are watching for that. Grigory Misyutin off to an outstanding start in the all-around competition. 9.7 on the pommel horse. Score on the floor for Wang Dong, 9.05. Alexei Nemov now from Russia. 5 feet 8, 154 pounds. He's tall for a gymnast. On the pommel horse, being tall is an advantage. You can have a long, fluid swing. Notice the slashing legs in the Thomas flares. Very difficult combination, working without the pommels, and then up to the pommels. That's great stuff.
Beautiful routine, loaded with difficulty.
He really has a lot of style. Here's the flares. Notice he's not touching the pommels as he travels across the horse. That makes it even more difficult. Hopping, a half turn, right here, over the pommel, and a half turn back. Boy, that was great. The score for Alexei Nemov, 9.7, which ties him with Grigory Misyutin in this first round. Now from Russia, another one of the favorites. All three of the Russian gymnasts here are favorites. Yevgeny Shabayev was in the World Championships this year, 5th in the all-around in Australia.
We continue to remark on the unbelievable technique that the Russians use in every event.
Oh, that was the pass
that Scott Keswick was supposed to perform. Much more difficult pass, which will earn bonus points from the judges.
The floor routine for men lasts between 50 and 70 seconds. The gymnasts have to cover the entire floor area. They have to show front tumbling elements, back tumbling elements. And then the judges require this thing, which is rather silly, I think, is a balance on either one foot or one hand. Well, no gymnast would dare do a one-handed handstand at this point in the routine. So they all do an arabesque to catch their breath, fulfill the requirement, and then their last tumbling run.
Very nice landing. It really is remarkable that they all use the exact same technique on this double layout. They obviously have perfected that, and they teach it to every athlete coming up, and they all perform it so well. Here's his two front layouts, and then he goes into a front with a full twist. The timing is very difficult to punch the floor at the exact right time to get up in the air.
The score, a 9.5 for Yevgeny Shabayev, which puts him in 5th place. Let's take a look at the leaderboard at this point. Tied for first, Grigory Misyutin, Alexei Nemov with a 9.7. In third, Alexei Voropayev from Russia. Fourth is Rudnitsky with a 9.525, and then Shabayev's 9.5 puts him in 5th place. Welcome back. Our men's all-around team competition